All right, guys, let's talk 2014.
Yeah,
Um,
2014. That was a year.
we're inching closer to present day in our yearly film series, but we're just going to run through our films that we find memorable, or we like, or we hate. Any of those reasons, for one reason or another. Right now, then we'll go through some picks that you guys sent in to us. Corey, take it away.
I went with the Babadook. Uh, actually, recently watched this. I think I probably talked about it on the show at some point. Um, but this one came up for me because it was very, very low budget, but really well done horror movie. Takes place in a
SWB
house
audio
with
capture not
mom and
registered.
child. They read a book about it's like a fairy tale about this monster that comes and takes over. Pretty freaky, unique looking monster. Has a really, really strong performances by the child actor in this movie, and the mom does a fantastic job. If you haven't seen it, I would definitely give it a shot. I was very impressed, even after hearing a lot of good things about it over the years since it came out. Just never got around to it, but I really enjoyed it, and it's not long, but pretty freaky, tense, and definitely a good horror movie if you like those types of movies. So that's my pick for 2014.
Never seen this one. I've just heard it like jokes and different like TV
Yeah,
shows and stuff like that.
yeah.
Babadook.
There's a lot of jokes, but it's definitely a pretty tense movie. The monster's pretty freaky.
Yeah, the monster's scary as hell.
Yeah, and the way that they slowly reveal the monster from beginning to the end, because you don't see him in the beginning of the movie, but the way that they do it's well done. Like, you're just like, what the fuck, what am I watching? Like, it's
Yeah.
pretty scary.
Is this an Australian movie?
Yes. Yes.
Right. I remember
They
that.
just they build up the whole reveal of the monster like really, really well, um which definitely adds to it. And the performances, like I said, are fantastic, especially the kid. He's insanely good.
Yeah. All right. Doug, you have two, so which one's it gonna be?
SWB audio capture not registered.
I've so the two I had, the one I would pick normally Kingsman, but I think I've talked about Kingsman here before, and
Yeah.
so that I'm not gonna pick Kingsman, but I'm just gonna shout out that it would have been probably Kingsman. But I think I'm gonna go Days of Future Past
All right.
because old cast, a movie that try to correct the fuck up that is X-Men 3.
Yeah.
Definitely a big
Yeah.
retcon for sure.
And it's overall pretty successful retcon until they go ahead and ruin the series again with the subsequent movies. But I like Days of Future Past. It was enjoyable in theaters.
Yeah, they never really did anything with it.
It's a cool storyline. I just
Like, they did the retcon, but they never used the original
Nice little-
characters ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very weird.
but it felt
choice.
like at least send off to a lot of those old characters because
Mhm.
X3 was just not the movie to buy to those characters, and so I like that movie just because we got the old cast back and we got what felt like a proper send off. And
Absolutely.
it's the most comic booky feeling movie out of a lot of like comic booky horrors are used and outfits, and it's
Fair.
Yeah, we Murph and I stood outside of the premiere in New York City. Got to meet some of the actors and actresses.
Oh yeah, I
Didn't
remember
get
that.
to see the movie.
Didn't
But
no, we weren't that close. People definitely
No.
cut the line and fucked us.
SWB
100%,
audio capture
100%.
not
yeah.
registered.
But we did get to meet a whole bunch of them. We got to meet Jennifer Lawrence. We got to meet Fucking
James
Hugh
McAvoy.
Hugh Jackman threw a T-shirt at us. Yeah, that was pretty good. Still have a T-shirt signed by Hugh, and I think the poster is signed by Jennifer Lawrence and maybe
Yeah,
Hugh.
I think Fassbender maybe signed
Yeah.
somebody's. Trying to think of some of the other ones that did. There were some like big names that signed them. I mean, Evan
Peter
Peters.
Dinklage rolled through.
Yeah, Peter Dinklage
Remember
was
seeing
there.
him?
Patrick Stewart? No, he didn't sign any of our stuff, but we saw him.
Nah. Fan Bingbing was there though.
Mm.
I do remember Fan Bingbing. She was dressed better than anyone else by
Yeah.
far. No idea who the fuck she was, but pretty big deal.
Nicholas Holt, he was there.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's pretty.
almost everyone was there.
It's a pretty neat
I
experience.
think it was like everyone except for Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
And
Pretty
Halle
cool.
Berry. I don't think she was there. Yeah, that was cool. First and only to experience doing something like that.
Yeah.
All right, JP. Let's get
I
yours.
went with a gritty character piece for 2014. This was one of my favorite movies of the year. It was Nightcrawler, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Riz Ahmed. This was a fucking bummer of a movie, but it was really, really fun to watch. Like Jake Gyllenhaal gets into the character of this insomniac sociopath, like guy, just sort of living end to end and doing a whole bunch of like not so savory things to get money and trying to find his place in the world. And he gets into the world of just filming horrible accidents for news channels in the 24-hour news cycle. Bill Paxton's in it.
Yeah, it was one of
Who's
his
the
last movies.
SWB audio
yeah, it
capture.
was. Who's
not
the woman
registered.
that works at the news
Mm,
agency?
It's not Vera Farmiga, is it?
No, it's Rene Russo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he has this weird ongoing relationship with Rene Russo as they get sort of like romantic, but only on his side, as he's working for her. It's just such a weird movie, and it doesn't have a good ending. It has a great ending, but it doesn't have a happy ending. The movie's just not happy at all. But it's just such a good character piece. Jake
Yeah, it's
Gyllenhaal just fucking
definitely a
knocks it
bleak
out of the
one.
park. Yeah. But he just did such a good job with his character. He's a creepy human being.
Yes, he is.
I absolutely love Nightcrawler, and the soundtrack to this movie is fucking wonderful. Just all the scores they did for this just are creepy, and they work so well in the movie. I love
Nice.
this one.
Yeah, we saw that one together.
Yeah.
Back in the day. All right, and then I went with Whiplash, the two-hander between Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons. This was when I ranked my 2010 movies from like that decade. I believe I had it as number 3. Probably my favorite final scene in any movie ever. It is so goddamn good. That last performance that Miles Teller is doing with the rest of the jazz orchestra or whatever, and J.K. Simmons is conducting it, and it's basically like a complete like each of them fucking each other over. It's just so goddamn good. Yeah, if you've never seen this one, it's basically showing what someone has to get put through to like pull out all their greatness, and whether it's worth it or not.
SWB audio
Isn't
capture.
Isn't it? Is
not
a tense
registered.
movie.
Yeah, J.K.
say the
Simmons
least.
is very intense, very abusive. He's basically the worst. Depending on your view of things, he is either the best or worst possible type of teacher slash mentor. If you're aiming for, if you have the potential to be great and you can stomach the abuse that he gives, he will pull it out of you. But anyone else, they would think he's the worst. So it kind of depends on how you view things, whether you see him as a absolute villain or somebody just trying to pull greatness out of people with potential.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe JP, you and me saw this one in theaters, and I just remember having like the biggest high like after that movie ended, like just being so jacked up from how like amazing that final scene was.
So good.
Yeah, really good performances. Really just tense atmosphere and a lot of good music along the way too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna learn a little bit about jazz as it goes along too. They reference like the greats throughout. Doug, did you ever see Whiplash?
Parts of Whiplash. I've seen the beginning. The reason I've never gotten that movie, not because it's not interesting. I just yeah, I don't know why I've never been able to finish it.
Gotcha.
It's
Things
not because
happen when I
I'm not
watch
interested by
Whiplash.
it.
Yeah,
Definitely one you
Fair
should
enough.
watch.
fair enough. Yeah, you should go back and watch it sometime.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to. I mean, you've been raving about Whiplash to me since you saw it.
Since 2014.
Mm-hmm.
It's been on my list since then, and I really want to get through it at some point.
There you go.
SWB audio
All right.
capture, not registered.
What else we got? What did people shout out?
Oh, we got to roll up to the top of chat here. Let's see.
I see Kingsman, which we mentioned.
Yep. We
Um,
had Winter Soldier came out that year
Great
apparently.
movie.
Oh
Guardians of
yeah,
the Galaxy.
MCU Killer 2014.
Pretty
Yeah.
big year for the MCU.
Yeah.
We got 22 Jump Street, which is a very successful
I still got to see that.
comedy sequel.
Incredible comedy sequel.
God.
Yeah, it really is very good.
Better than the first one?
Much
No.
better. In my
I don't
opinion.
think it's much better.
I think it's much better.
That's crazy.
I didn't think it when I first saw it. On repeat
Yeah.
viewings, I like it way more.
Nuts.
I was very impressed with it because they laid their cards out on the table from the very beginning and they just said, we're going to make sequel jokes over and over and over again. And they wrote a check that they were able to cash because they did it and it never really got old. That's a gamble. You got to really be confident in your jokes to be able to do that.
Yeah, I gotta watch it.
Then we got Kate's picks. We got This Is Where I Leave You. This is where we start Googling.
This one I actually saw. It's got a good cast. Jason Bateman, Adam Driver, a bunch of other people. They're sitting shiva together for, I think their dad passes away or their mom passes away.
This was a good one. I believe I watched
It's,
this.
it's an amusing like dramedy.
Okay. All right. We got a Two Night Stand.
This
Maybe
one
a
I
sequel
did.
to
This
One
one I
Night
did not
Stand?
know.
This is with Miles Teller. This is actually also a great movie.
Doug's laughing like, "Oh, these movies. I don't know. I don't know them."
This was one that I was
Only Corey knows.
This is one that
Kid Cudi's in it.
I was pleasantly surprised at how good it was. It's romantic comedy.
SWB audio capture,
actually
not
very good.
registered.
Miles Teller.
Big year from Miles Teller.
Yeah.
Two
We
Night
got
Stand and Whiplash.
Comet 2014, starring Emmy Rossum and Justin Long.
This is one that I still have no idea what it is.
Yeah. It looks very pastel from the Google pictures. Never heard of it. Never seen it. It looks like a romantic movie. I would imagine so. What else do we have? Foxcatcher.
Very depressing movie.
Yeah. I never saw it, but that's what I remember about like the trailer.
Steve Carell, right?
Yeah, it's not fun. Steve Carell, Mark Ruffalo, and Channing Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
About
Vampire.
one of the DuPont family members who coaches wrestling and ends up committing murder.
Yeah, that's one. You got Vampire Academy, which
It's another movie with ghouls in it.
This is
a lot of ghouls.
This
looks like a CW show.
This is a ghoul movie that I did watch and was not a fan of.
All right.
But it certainly has ghouls in it.
It looks like vampires that go to school with all sorts of random various ghouls.
Yeah, it's very Degrassi.
Okay. St. Vincent, which I believe was a serious movie starring Melissa McCarthy.
Which one?
Maybe I'm wrong.
St. Vincent?
St. Vincent?
Yeah, so it was Bill Murray and her.
Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never seen it. Seems like
that,
an eclectic
that awkward
cast.
moment with Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, that's a good one
somebody
too.
else. Comedy. But yeah, big year for Miles Teller.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a fun movie.
Yeah, really. Who knew?
We didn't. We just
SWV
found out
audio
now.
captured,
Yeah. I
not
feel like that's
registered.
when Miles Teller blossomed and then disappeared all at the same time.
Oh, he'll be back with Top Gun Maverick later
Yeah.
this year.
Oh, lovely. Lovely.
He killed it.
He's
in that.
He's Goose's
Looks like
child.
he killed it.
Oh, great. That's wonderful. Good for you, Miles Teller. Yeah, and then yeah, it's
that it. That's it, right?
yeah, we had
and somebody top 5 got shouted out. Chris Rock.
right, yes.
Definitely one of his best movies. Funny and very enjoyable. Great cast.
One other one.
DMX is in it.
DMX, love DMX.
Yeah.
One other one I want to call out, which I'm surprised wasn't called out already, is Grand Budapest Hotel.
No.
Amazing movie. I love that movie.
No, it's Wes Anderson. No.
Yeah, it's. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen all of Wes Anderson's movies, but of the ones that I've seen, I think that is probably the zaniest one.
Oh, it's very zany.
It's just fun. I don't know what performances were great. Ray Fiennes and the actor who played Flash in the Spider-Man movies, the most recent Spider-Man movies. The two of them were like
Tony Rivoli or
something. The two of them were so funny together, and of course it has its cast of actors that are always in Wes Anderson movies that pop up. It's just I don't know. It's silly, but I really enjoyed that one.
Usual troop.
Yeah. 2 other honorable mentions. John Wick came out this year. Started the phenomenon.
Good one.
Love me some John Wick. And then The Interview.
I still haven't seen this one.
The movie that nearly started a war.
A world war, yeah.
SWV audio captured, not registered.
It's just a pretty great movie, but
all because of Seth Rogen and James Franco.
Still haven't seen it.
It's pretty hilarious.
It's funny.
Didn't it
I remember watching that on New Year's Eve?
Didn't it not come out for over a year?
I just went straight to streaming.
Oh, I'm
you had to buy
creating
it.
A more elaborate story in my head, I guess.
And it played in independent movie theaters that were brave enough to play.
Neighbors came out this year as well. That's a really good R-rated comedy.
That's a great movie.
Seth Rogen year.
Was that Seth Rogen and
Seth Rogen versus Miles Teller for the year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Next week we will naturally talk about 2015. It would be a real plot twist if we didn't.
We should just skip a year one time and see if anyone knows.
Who's paying attention. But yeah, over the next week, shoot us over your 2015 picks so we can talk about them as well.
Watch Bottle Rocket. Wes
yes,
Anderson.
We'll talk about it again. Watch Bottle Rocket because we're going to be talking about it next week on Amazon Prime. So if you got Prime, you can watch for free.
And then keep an eye on social media and let us know how you think we did with our Fast and Furious movies that we drafted today.
Absolutely. Imagine the story that you want to see and pick the winner.
Don't imagine the story with mine. I'll tell you the story.
Hobbs and Hobbs.
Hit me up on it. Hit me up. Hobbs. I'll send you the screenplay that I'm writing tonight.
JB's fan fiction.
Han and Hobbs will be in 3D too. Just to throw that out there. Bringing 3D back.
Oh, I'm out. No 3D.
All right, that's all we got. We'll see you next week, guys.
Have a good night.
Bye.